In the previous video, we learnt about the types of hybridization. We learnt about the sp, sp2, sp3, sp3d and sp3d2 types of hybridization, and we discussed several examples. Today in this video, we are going to start with an absolutely new topic, that is bond parameters. Okay, covalent bonds are characterized by several parameters that we have to discuss. And what are these parameters? So first is bond length. Okay, bond length means length of a bond. What is a bond? Bond is a force of attraction. So how to define bond length, or how to find out the bond length? Suppose this is a covalent bond. This is a covalently bonded molecule. Okay, this is the nucleus of first atom. This is the nucleus of second atom. So what is bond length? This is bond length. Okay, the distance between the nuclei of two bonded atoms. So if I know this distance, definitely this is the bond length for a particular molecule. There are several techniques to measure this bond length. Okay, X-ray diffraction studies are there, spectroscopic studies are there. Okay, with the help of which we can find out the bond length in a molecule. Now we have learned that there are three types of bond. Okay, single bond is also there, double is also there, triple is also there. Okay, so now we have to discuss factors affecting bond length. And always remember, this bond length is very small, so it is generally measured in angstroms. Okay, 1 angstrom is 10 to the power minus 10 meter. Bond length can be measured in nanometers, picometers. Okay, this is a very small value. So it is generally measured in smaller units of length. Now, what are the factors which affect the bond length? So the first factor is multiplicity of bond. Now, what is the meaning of multiplicity? Let's take the example of carbon only. Carbon can make single bond, it can make double bond, and it can make triple bond. Okay, now single bond means only sigma bond is there, so only one overlapping is there. Double bond means one is sigma and one is pi, so 2 times the overlapping will occur. You know, sigma overlapping is along the axis, pi overlapping is perpendicular to the axis, so 2 times the overlapping will occur. And triple bond means it is 1 sigma and 2 pi, means how many times the overlapping will occur? 3 times. Okay, now greater is overlapping, closer the atoms will come. Okay, so it means these two atoms are closest, because in these two carbon atoms 3 times the overlapping is there. And if the atoms are closer, this distance will decrease. So if the bond is single, it is having highest bond length, then double, and then triple. Okay, so I can write like this: single bond is having highest bond length, then double, and triple bond is having the shortest bond length. So this is the first factor on which our bond length depends. The second factor on which bond length depends is size of atoms. Okay, so as the size of atoms increase, now what will happen if the size of atoms increase? This distance will increase. Suppose I am having carbon-carbon single bond and silicon-silicon single bond. Okay, let's take these two examples. Now silicon is bigger than carbon. Carbon, silicon. Silicon lies down in the group. Okay, so if silicon is bigger in size, definitely this distance will be more. So I can write like this. So this bond length will be shorter and this bond length will be longer. So as the size of atoms increase, your bond length also increases. So this was all about the first bond parameter, that is bond length. Distance between the nuclei of two bonded atoms in a molecule is known as bond length. We can calculate bond length by X-ray techniques, and this distance is very short, so it is generally measured in smaller units, that is angstrom, picometer, nanometer, like this. The second bond parameter that we have to discuss is bond angle. Now what is the meaning of bond angle? Already in our VSEPR theory in hybridization we have learned this term, bond angle. Okay, what is bond angle? It is the angle between the orbitals containing bonding electron pairs. Okay, means the angle between the bond pairs of electrons around the central atom in a molecule. Okay, so we are taking some examples. Suppose this is my central atom and these four bond pairs are there. Now suppose this example is methane, and we very well know what is the geometry of methane. It is tetrahedral. So what is bond angle now? This angle between the bond pairs is known as bond angle. Okay, so it is like this. This will be, and all the bond angles will be same. Now suppose this is the next molecule, that is ammonia. Now ammonia is having one lone pair, this we know. Now what will be the bond angle? Angle between these, one bond pair and second bond pair, like this. Okay, this is not counted. And suppose we take the last example, water. Now we know in water two lone pairs are there. So what will be the bond angle? This will be the bond angle. So angle between the bond pairs or bonding orbitals is known as bond angle. Now the next bond parameter is bond enthalpy, and you are very familiar with this word enthalpy. Enthalpy is nothing but it is the energy only. So what is bond enthalpy? The amount of energy required to break 1 mole of a bond of a particular type between the atoms in the gaseous state. Mole is used for quantity. Okay, so 1 mole of a bond of a particular type between the atoms in gaseous state. So what is the meaning of this? Suppose I am having this molecule, hydrogen molecule. Hydrogen molecule means this bond is there, and if I want to break this bond means I want to make these two atoms apart from each other. So what I have to do? I have to supply some energy, and whatever energy we are supplying here, that is bond enthalpy. So the two atoms will be apart now. Okay, and suppose here if I know the value, suppose here the enthalpy is 435.8 kilojoules per mole. It means in order to break this bond I require this much energy, and this is known as bond enthalpy. Stronger is the bond, more energy will be required. Okay, so there are several factors which affect this bond enthalpy. So let's discuss the factors affecting. First, suppose I am having triple bond, double and single. The atoms are same. Now which bond will require highest amount of energy? Definitely triple, because 3 bonds are there, like this. Okay, so if the number of bonds increase, multiplicity of bond. As the multiplicity of bonds increase, your bond enthalpies also increase, provided the atoms should be same. And the second is size. Suppose I am having this. We can take one more example like this. Carbon, carbon, silicon, silicon only we are taking. Okay, now these two atoms are smaller. Now smaller the atoms, more closer they will be. The internuclear distance will be close. So attraction will be more here. So as the size increases, the bond enthalpy decreases. Means more energy is required to break the bond between smaller atoms. Okay. So this is the second factor which affect your bond enthalpy. Now the last bond parameter is bond order, and bond order is the number of bonds present between the two atoms in a molecule. Suppose hydrogen, the bond order is 1. Oxygen, now 2 bonds are there, 2. Nitrogen, 3 bonds are there, it is 3. Okay, and sometimes the bond order can be fractional also. Bond order can be 0 also. If the bond order is 0, the molecule will not exist at all. Okay, so this is all about your bond parameters. So we discussed 4 things. You know the meaning of now bond length, bond enthalpy, bond angle, and bond order. The next topic that we are going to start is polarity of bonds. What is the meaning of polarity of bonds? Okay, listen carefully. Suppose a covalent bond is formed. We know that a covalent bond is formed by sharing of electrons, and bond is formed between two similar atoms. Okay, like this. Like this, both the atoms are same. Okay, now one electron will be contributed by this atom, another electron will be contributed by this atom, and they will equally share the 2 electrons. And the 2 electrons will remain in between. Such type of covalent bonds which are formed between 2 similar atoms, they are known as non-polar covalent bonds. Okay, the electron pair will remain in between the 2. They will equally share. But sometimes the covalent bond is formed between 2 dissimilar atoms like this. Okay, now the 2 atoms are not similar, and since the 2 atoms are not similar, their nuclear charges are different. Consider this example. Now fluorine is having higher nuclear charge, plus 9 protons are there. And if the atom is having greater nuclear charge, it has more tendency to attract electron. And this tendency we have learnt in unit number 3, that is known as electronegativity. So I will mention here that word. Okay, tendency to attract shared electrons. So fluorine is having greater nuclear charge, so it has more tendency to attract the shared electron. So what will happen because of this? The shared electrons will be shifted more towards fluorine. It will attract these electrons. Likewise, the shared electrons will be attracted more towards chlorine. The electron pairs will remain in between only. They will not enter fluorine or chlorine atom. They will remain in between only, but they are slightly shifted. And because of this slight shift, this fluorine atom will acquire a partial negative charge, and this will acquire partial positive. This is del. Okay? Del means partial, not complete. So it will acquire partial positive charge, it will acquire partial negative charge. Okay, now 2 charges are developed in a molecule, positive as well as negative. And these 2 charges are equal, because whatever positive charge is there, that much negative charge is present. When the molecule has 2 charges, positive and negative, separated by a distance, that molecule is known as dipole. So one word is there, that is dipole. Okay, this is a physics word. Di means 2, pole means charges. What is a dipole? Dipole means a molecule having 2 opposite charges separated by a distance. So this is a dipole, this is also a dipole. So two charges are there which are separated by a distance, that is known as dipole. Dipole is a molecule. Okay, now this is also a dipole, or we can say such type of bonds are known as polar covalent bonds. Okay, so what is polar covalent bond? Formed between two dissimilar atoms. Okay, so this is polar covalent bond, or we can say the molecule is polar in nature. Polar means polarity. Polarity means dipole. So all these terms are same. Okay, polar covalent bond, polarity, dipole, they are one and the same thing. The molecule has a charge, positive as well as negative. And whatever positive charge is there, that much negative charge is also present. Okay, now this is also a polar molecule, dipole. This is also a polar molecule. Now which is more polar? How to measure this degree of polarity? How to compare them? Okay, one way is greater the electronegativity difference, more will be polarity. Now fluorine is more electronegative, so fluorine has more tendency to attract. So definitely this molecule is more polar as compared to this. So one way is this for finding out. So I can add one sentence. Greater is the electronegativity difference, more will be the polarity of bonds. Okay, so greater is the electronegativity difference between the two atoms, more will be the polarity of the bond. Now how to calculate its value? Suppose I am having polyatomic molecule CH4, water, NH3. How to calculate the polarity? Okay, so this polarity is measured in terms of a vector quantity. Okay, and that vector quantity is dipole moment. So the degree of polarity or the measure of polarity of a molecule is denoted by a term that is known as dipole moment. Dipole, you know, polarity, two poles, and moment means, this means measurement. Okay, so it is used to measure the degree of polarity. It is a vector quantity, and this dipole moment is symbolized by mu. Okay, like this. Okay, this symbol we use to represent this. Now how to define it? How to define dipole moment? It is defined as the product of magnitude of charge and distance between the two charges. Okay, suppose this is my molecule AB. Now it is having plus Q and it is having minus Q. Okay, and D is the distance between them. So how to find out this dipole moment? So this dipole moment is measured as, now mu we have to calculate. So it is magnitude of charge into distance. Okay, it's a mathematical number that comes, it's a mathematical value that comes. Okay, so this is your dipole moment. Now what is the unit for dipole moment? Now it is charge into distance. Okay, charge distance is measured in the units of length. Okay, now here Q is of the order of 10 to the power minus 10 ESU. Now what is ESU? ESU is electrostatic unit. Okay, so Q is of the order of 10 to the power minus 10 ESU. So I am writing here electrostatic units. and distance is of the order of 10 to the power minus 8 centimeter. So dipole moment will be 10 to the power minus 10 into 10 to the power minus 8 ESU centimeter. And this ESU centimeter we can replace. So it is 10 to the power minus 18 ESU centimeter, and this is equal to 1 dBi. Okay, capital D. So basically what is the unit of dipole moment? It is dBi. It is measured in the terms of dBi, that is D. Now this dipole moment is a vector quantity. Okay, means it has both magnitude as well as direction. Suppose this is a polar molecule. Now this is del plus and this is del minus. So dipole moment, we can calculate dipole moment. Okay, Q into D. And we can also represent it on paper. The direction is like this. Okay, so dipole moment is a vector quantity. It is represented by an arrow from positive to negative end. Okay, so this is the tail part and this is the head part. The tail part of the arrow is towards the positive and the head part is towards the negative end of the molecule. So this is a way to represent the dipole moment on paper. Magnitude also we can calculate by using the formula, and direction also we can show on paper. Now let's discuss the applications of dipole moment. Okay, what is the use of calculating this dipole moment? Definitely with the help of dipole moment we can find out the polarity of a molecule. Which molecule is more polar, that also we can compare. So now let's calculate the dipole moment for different types of molecules. So next heading is dipole moment and molecular structure. And first we'll discuss diatomic molecules. Diatomic molecules means between two different atoms. So the example which I am taking is this. Okay, all these are diatomic molecules and all these are polar only because of greater electronegativity of halogen. Okay, now from here to here what happens? Electronegativity of halogen decreases. Okay, because fluorine is most electronegative, iodine is least. So electronegativity of halogen will decrease, or we can say that electronegativity difference decreases. So polarity also decreases, or dipole moment. If we measure the dipole moment, we are not calculating it, but suppose if we measure the dipole moment values will also decrease. Now this is further confirmed by their values. Okay, so these are the values: 1.78, 1.07, 0.79 and 0.38. So it means it is the most polar molecule having the highest dipole moment. So in diatomic molecules, since only two atoms are there, so calculate the electronegativity difference. If the electronegativity difference is more, that molecule will be more polar, or it will be having more dipole moment. But now if polyatomic molecules are there, okay, more than two atoms are there, so here the dipole moment will depend upon the molecular geometry or structure. Okay, here dipole moment is equal to vector sum of dipole moments of individual bonds. Now let's take some examples. What is the meaning of this? Suppose the first molecule that we are discussing is CO2. Now what is the polarity of CO2? Whether it is polar or non-polar? Okay. So first we'll draw the geometry of CO2, and this example I have given in the VSCPR theory in the linear geometry. CO2 is like this. Okay. Oxygen is more electronegative. then carbon. So one vector I will put here like this. Okay, because what is the direction of vector? Positive to negative. Oxygen is more negative than carbon. Likewise here also. Now there are two vectors, and what is dipole moment? Vector sum of individual bonds. So what is the net dipole moment? Now one vector is pointing left, another vector is pointing right side. The two vectors are equal in magnitude, opposite in direction. So net dipole moment is 0. It means the molecule is non-polar. So from the formula it appears that carbon dioxide can have some polarity because carbon dioxide is having two different atoms. But it is because of the shape of the molecule is like this, that the resultant moment is 0. So carbon dioxide is a non-polar molecule. Let's take one more example. BeF2, beryllium fluoride. Now two different atoms are there and fluorine is electronegative. So it appears that it can have some polarity. What is the shape of BeF2? And for this you have to again revise that VSEPR theory for learning the shapes of molecules. So again two vectors will be there because fluorine is more electronegative like this. So two vectors are in opposite direction, so resultant is 0. It means BeF2 is also non-polar molecule. BF3. This example also we have learnt in that same theory. BF3 is having trigonal planar shape. Like this. Now one vector will be here, another vector will be here, another vector will be here. The vectors are aligned along the bonds only. Okay, so these three vectors are there which are aligned along the bonds at an angle of 120 degree from each other. Now these two vectors are pointing down. This is the first vector, this is the second vector. The resultant will be like this. Okay, this is the resultant of two vectors. Okay, this is vector addition. If this vector is mu, or if this vector is suppose x, this vector is x, the resultant will also be x. So when the two vectors are similar, the resultant is having the same value. It means the resultant of these two vectors is this. So this is x, resultant is also x. Now this is the resultant. Now this is the resultant, I am writing here. Now resultant is pointing down, this vector is pointing up. Cancelled. So it is also having 0, means BF3 is also non-polar molecule. Okay. Now let's take one more example. Ammonia. Now ammonia is having pyramidal shape. Okay. Now nitrogen is more electronegative, so put the arrows, vectors 1, 2 and 3. Okay. This cross means positive. Okay, suppose if I write vector like this, so this means this is the positive end. Okay, so three vectors are moving towards nitrogen. Lone pair vector is also there because lone pair means electron pair, that is also polarity. Lone pair vector is always up. So now four vectors are there and all are pointing up. So definitely resultant is up only because there is no cancellation. So this is the resultant of all the four vectors, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So this molecule is having some value. It means this molecule is polar. I am not calculating the value, but I know that whatever value is there, it is having a significant amount of polarity. It means ammonia is polar in nature. Here it is not cancelled. The next example is water. Now oxygen, two lone pairs are there and this is V shape. Now oxygen is more electronegative, so put the arrows towards oxygen. Now there are two lone pairs, so 1 and 2. Now all the four vectors are pointing up, so definitely resultant will point up only. So It is also having some polarity, means the molecule is polar. Now let's try for 3 molecules. Okay, all these 3 are tetrahedral. This is chloroform CHCl3 and this is CH2Cl2. One more example I can write, that is CCl4, carbon tetrachloride. Okay, this we are going to discuss in our organic chemistry topics. Okay, these are the 4 molecules and all are having tetrahedral geometry. Okay, now this is an assignment question for you. Make the vectors and try to find out which is polar and which is non-polar. 1 question, 2 questions I am solving. This one. Now carbon is more electronegative. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. Now these 3 vectors are pointing towards carbon. Okay, like this. 1, 2 and 3. And when these 3 vectors point towards carbon, the resultant is up only. Okay, so the resultant of these 3 vectors is up. So this is the resultant I can make. So this is the resultant of these 3 vectors. Now the resultant is moving up and the bond vector is moving down. So they will be cancelled. So the net dipole moment is 0. Okay, here we have to calculate the resultant part. When 2 or 3 vectors are moving in the same direction, their resultant is taken. Okay, so if the vectors are moving like this, suppose 3 vectors are moving like this, the resultant will be down. If the 3 vectors are moving like this, the resultant will be up. Likewise, so we have to use this knowledge here. Okay, suppose this example. Now chlorine is more electronegative, so I am putting the vectors. Now these 3 vectors are down, so resultant will be down. So resultant is down, this is up, so they will be cancelled. So the net dipole moment is 0 here. Okay, now try to solve these 2 questions. Now there is one more interesting case of NH3 and NF3. So ammonia, we know it is pyramidal. And NF3 is also same, 1 lone pair and 3 bond pairs, like this. Okay. Now the 2 molecules are having the same central atom, same bond pairs, same lone pairs. Okay, then which is more polar and why? Yeah, which is less polar? How to compare the polarity? So first we'll make the vectors. Nitrogen is more negative and lone pair vector is up. Here fluorine will be more electronegative. Which is the most electronegative element? Fluorine. After fluorine, oxygen, then nitrogen. So vectors will be like this. Okay, now here the 4 vectors are up. Okay, so all the vectors are added. All the vectors are added means 3 bond pairs plus 1 lone pair. So resultant is having some value, means it is definitely having high polarity. Here these 3 vectors are down, so here resultant is down and lone pair is up. So this is the resultant. Okay, now here dipole moment is due to resultant of 3 bond vectors minus lone pair vector. Okay, they will not be cancelled. The reason being, these 3 are bond vectors and this is lone pair vector. Lone pair vector is smaller in magnitude. Suppose this is 10, 10 and 10. This is 10, this is 10, this is 10. So this will be 5 like this. Now these 3 are 10, so this will be 10 only. Okay, if the 3 vectors are same, the resultant is having the same value. Okay, so it is 10 now. So 10 minus 5, it will be like this. So here all the 4 vectors are not added, 3 are added and the 4th is subtracted. Here also the dipole moment has some value, but its value will be less. So which is more polar? Definitely NH3 is more polar. Okay, so if we know the geometry or the shape of molecule, we can compare the polarity of molecule on the basis of dipole moment. Definitely we have to draw the vectors, we have to take the resultant like this.